Database Connection Part 1. This is Lecture 15 of Section 4. Let's begin. Now, in this lecture, we will study why we need to connect to a database, what are the parameters for the connection, what databases are supported in SOAP UI, and what are the database connection drivers. We will study about the groovy.sql.sql package in detail. We will learn about the try, catch, and finally keywords in the DB connection. We will learn how to obtain a connection object and how to get a SQL query result set. All of this will be followed by a quiz in the end. Why the need to connect to a database? Now, connecting to a database inside the test steps for various processes is required most often in any test suite. What are the parameters for the database connection? Now, there are 4 parameters which are required for any database connection, namely the database path, the username, the password, and the database driver name. This is an example of how to use the 4 parameters in a database connection string. Now we will get a SQL instance by using these 4 parameters, like the JDBC connection, the URL, the driver class name, etc. And SQL.new instance method could be used as per the requirements of the developer. Now this returns a SQL object, and this SQL object can be used for executing the queries to perform operations on the database. Database supported. What are the databases that are supported in SOAP UI? They are MySQL, Postgres, IBMD, MS SQL, Microsoft SQL Server, Oracle Thin, Oracle, Sybase, Firebird, IDS Server, InstantDB, Interbase, Hypersonic SQL, Cloudscape, and Point-based Embedded Server. Okay, what are the database connection drivers for all the databases that we discussed in the previous slide? Now, here are the drivers for all the databases, and here next to that are the connection strings for those particular drivers. MySQL, Postgres, IBMD, MS SQL, MS SQL WebLogic, MS SQL Sprinter driver, Microsoft SQL Server. Next to the names are the connection strings. You can have a look. Similarly, the connection string for the Oracle Thin driver, for the Oracle or HANO driver, for the Sybase, Point-based Embedded Server, Cloudscape, Hypersonic SQL are also as follows. You can have a look. Next are the connection strings for the Cloudscape RMI, the Firebird DB, the IDS server, Informix Dynamic Server, InstantDB, and Interbase. The first column tells us the driver, the second column tells us the connection string. Now we will discuss the groovy.sql.sql package in detail. Now basically this package consists of the Groovy helper classes, which are used for working with the SQL data as Groovy objects. It provides greatly simplified resource management and result set handling. Also, it hides away details associated with getting connections, constructing and configuring statements, interacting with the connection, closing resources, and logging errors. The special features of this package include using closures to iterate through the result sets. Number 2, a special G-string syntax for representing prepared statements. And number 3, treating result sets like collections of maps, with the normal Groovy collection methods also available. Now let's look at the groovy.sql.sql package in detail. Here is a list with the interfaces and the classes which are included in the package. Now I'll explain the interfaces and classes and what they do in detail. The first interface, expanded variable, identifies a variable to be expanded into a SQL string rather than representing a placeholder. Second, groovy result set. It represents an extent of objects. Third, in-out parameter is a type parameter passed to and returned from a callable statement. The in parameter is a type parameter to pass to a query, and the out parameter is a parameter to be returned from a callable statement. And the result out parameter is a simple result out parameter. Now we come to the classes. The first is batching prepared statement wrapper. This is a class which delegates to a prepared statement, but it keeps track of a batch count size. The second one is batching statement wrapper. It's the same as the previous one, except that this class delegates to a statement rather than a prepared statement, and also keeps track of a batch count size. The dataset class. This is an enhancement of Groovy's SQL class, providing support for accessing and querying databases using POGO fields and operators rather than JDBC level API calls and RDBMS column names. The Groovy result set extension. This implements additional logic for the result set. Groovy result set proxy. This is used to create a proxy for the Groovy result set. The Groovy row result. It represents an extent of objects. The result set metadata wrapper. This class defines a wrapper for accessing a specific column in result set metadata. And SQL order by visitor. This is a facet over Java's normal JDBC APIs, providing greatly simplified resource management and result set handling. All three of them, SQL where visitor and SQL with params. Okay, try, catch, and finally in DB connection. Okay, handling exceptions in Groovy is the same as in Java. We write a try and catch block to catch an exception, and then later we can handle the exception in the catch parentheses. As you can see in the code, we put the code in the try block and then we write the handling in the catch block. And then finally, the database connection will be closed after closure exits. This is the simplest and easiest of the resource handling. How to obtain a connection object. You import the required libraries, then you create a connection object, and then you use the driver managers dot get connection method to assign a connection to the connection object, and that is how you obtain a connection object. How to get a SQL query result. You first of all import the required libraries. You create a connection object, a statement object, and result set object. You assign the connection object as before. Then you assign a statement from the create statement method, and then you assign a result set by using the execute query, and you have the query in the parentheses, and the result set is going to go in the result set object. In this case it's RS. That is the end of the lecture. Now it's time for a quiz. Question number 1. Which of the following is not a database supported by SOAP UI? A. MS SQL, B. Microsoft SQL Server, C. Oracle Thin, D. MS Access. Question number 2. Name the 4 parameters needed to establish a DB connection. The answers are as follows. In question 1, the answer is MS Access. And question 2, the four parameters are database path, database username, password, and the driver name. Question number 3. Which of the following keywords performs simplest resource handling? A. Try, B. Close, C. Assert, and D. Finally. Question number 4. What code is needed to get the connection object? You need to write the code. The answers are as follows. Question 3, the answer is D. And question 4, here is the code to get the connection object. This is the end of the quiz. This is also the end of lecture 15. Thank you.